you want to learn how I made this giant bow, you're in luck, because that's what this whole video is. We're gonna make this giant bow. You're gonna come with me and see all the mental breakdowns I had making this bow, see all the mistakes I made so that you can just skip on right over that, because I think you need this giant bow in your life. We gotta start all the way at the beginning. So obviously first things first is we need some fabric. I've come to Joanne. We're gonna pick some fabric. Now I have a vision. Red dress, pink bow, a little color blocking moment. But the dress is satin, so I also want to get like a satin bow. It looks like it all came together originally. This is the dress. I was looking at this one, but I feel like it's too light. I feel like I want to do something more like that. It's really cute. Okay, I also found this pink. I don't think it's shiny enough. I think this one looks better. This is the one I currently have, but I also found this light pink one, which is cute. But I feel like it almost looks too white. Like, I feel like this is super Valentine's Day. I think that one's it. I also need to find something called fusible interfacing. I think it's just gonna make the bow really stiff. You put it on the inside, and I definitely want this bow to be as stiff and poofy, as much structure as possible. Gotta find that somewhere. Wait, right here. That was supposed to be $30 for the fabric, the weird, whatever, interfacing thing and thread. It looks like the person accidentally scanned the thread twice instead of my fabric and thread. So I ended up paying $9 for that. $30 was still definitely a great deal, but I will take $9 if an option. BRB. Sounds like my children are in dire need of help apparently. But let's get down to business. I am currently at home with both of my children. They are quite needy, so we'll see how long I can do any of this. They're literally both within probably about a 2-foot radius of me. Personal space, love that as always. But I think it will be theoretically easy enough to measure out my fabric and put the interfacing whatever, because I think I need to iron or like heat apply it. So I'm gonna try that right now. I had the original measurements in centimeters because will I be able to finish a cohesive thought? Probably not. That's just kind of how my life goes. What was I saying? I had all my measurements in centimeters. I currently live in America. For some reason, they think the empirical system is the greatest way of measurement. I was just like quickly running numbers in my calculator on my phone, doing the conversions, because some of the things I needed were in inches, and then you need to buy fabric in yards. How many inches are even in a yard, and who even knows? They were like about to cut, and I was like, wait, stop. That's way too much fabric. I definitely need to redo these measurements. And then it was less money and less fabric. It's super fun for me. So I am like loosely basing this off of some TikToks I've seen, some YouTube videos I've watched, and I'm kind of just like shoving it all into one. Also with my own kind of prior knowledge as if I know anything. This one says you want to have, oh, I may have messed this up already. 150 centimeters by 60, but you need it to be folded. Okay, well, I don't know if I have that much, so we'll make as big of a bow as possible. Okay, we definitely need to, oh, there's a child underneath me. Okay, we definitely need to be on the floor for this. I don't know how well this is gonna go with the baby. We'll see how we can make this work. Tally up. I'm confusing myself very much. I don't know if I bought the right amount of whatever this interface stuff is. I don't think I did. I think I was supposed to have enough that it was also folded, but I don't. It's gonna go in the middle of here, right? We can make that work. Fold over the sides. This will be the inside. Okay, and then I'll fold over like this and like, she's definitely not going to be as structured as I would like. I think I got a little bit too little fabric. Oh well, we're gonna work with it. My least favorite part about sewing is cutting fabric and committing to something. Once you cut, you can't go back. It just stresses me out. 150 centimeters. I don't know if you can hear. My children are supposedly sleeping. They're not, either of them. This is extra for later. I have some sneaky plans for that. I also need to cut this down to 150. Does this fit on my kitchen table now? Off the floor, safe from the children. It's the next. That's basically my point in case, is that I had to mom for the rest of the day yesterday, so I didn't get anything done. And then I went back to it this morning and I realized I don't have enough of this material. I'm now making my friend Lucia drive me because I have an unreliable car at the moment. That's a whole other situation. I keep forgetting what it's called. The fusible interfacing. The stiff stuff that's gonna make the bow not floopy. That. I need more of that. This video is taking me way longer than I anticipated it would. I thought it would be a quick little afternoon situation. It is not because the project is hard. I have yet to find that out. Because I am a mom, I can never get anything accomplished without someone interrupting me, and because I didn't do some measurement / calculations right. So I had to go back to the store to get more material. We got the material we needed, so now we can actually hopefully start. Where we left off is this interfacing. I'm a little worried because I couldn't find one solid piece big enough for what I wanted, so I had to buy 2 separate pieces. So I'm hoping that the seam down the middle between them isn't gonna compromise the structure of the bow. I think it won't if I place it correctly, which I'm thinking ahead about doing that now. Can we just talk about this Facebook Marketplace find for a second? Brand new, as you saw. Genuinely still in the package. $60. It literally still has the stickers on. It was never touched. I am so excited. We love the Facebook Marketplaces. Last time you saw me, I gave up. I was having troubles with my sewing machine settings to get it right for the satin. I am definitely a novice when it comes to sewing. I didn't think it would take me this long to figure out the settings. I gave up that night, had a little bit of a mental breakdown, came back to it another morning, still couldn't figure it out. So now my wonderful husband is trying to problem solve the settings for me because I feel like I was getting frustrated way faster than he was. So that's my green flag of a husband. He's secure enough in his masculinity to play with sewing machine. After many, I don't know if you can see all the trial and errors of stitches, we finally have a good enough stitch and I can finally get started. I went through and just folded over the raw hem just so I have a cleaner edge on the inside so it doesn't fray as much, because satin, as you can tell, it frays a decent amount. So I'm just going to quickly do a straight stitch along that before I put the structure, infusible, whatever interfacing in. And then I'll do that on the other side. I'm doing this on the long side right now. My extra strings at the beginning. Now just to make sure that the fray doesn't get worse even though I'm sewing it together again, I just did that with a straight stitch. That took me forever to figure out, and by me I mean my husband, because I did not want to do that. So I'm just gonna do this along the other side, along the 150 centimeter length on both sides. Just a quick little straight stitch. Keep it from fraying because you can already see it's fraying a bunch here. Theoretically, I don't think it should matter because they're going to get sewn together and it's going to be on the inside, but I just wanted to do a proper job. I definitely did one side better than the other, but whatever, we'll just ignore that. We had to take a brief intermission because I don't have an area big enough to iron on this, I keep forgetting what it's called, you know the stuff, and not have a baby burn their fingers off. We have limited time to do this right now. I took my fabric, placed it right side down, making sure that I had the right side of the interfacing facing the fabric. Wow, that's a lot of facing. Anyways, there's a very obvious side that you need to make sure is facing downwards. That's the side that's gonna adhere. The instructions said that you need to have a damp cloth in between the iron and the material. I didn't see this until later on, but basically you just need to make sure that you had the iron on for about 10 to 15 seconds, which would be long enough to dry the damp cloth and be a good indicator had the iron on for long enough. I would suggest doing this in smaller chunks. Every time you'd iron on, you want to flip over to the other side and smooth out any wrinkles that you have on the front side, because that's going to be what is most noticeable. And then here I am going again with the other piece on the other side. And then I came up with this little hack. I just got a cup of warm water to get the cloth damp because I was getting so dizzy and lightheaded standing up and down to get the cloth damp every time I needed to get a new piece. And I'm just making sure that I'm overlapping the damp cloth a little bit every time. time. And then once again, I did the same thing where I turned my pieces of fabric over, and you can see there was a lot of wrinkles that I should have ironed out earlier, but I didn't, and it already adhered. That is what it is. Here I am just pinning the right sides together now, and then I'm gonna sew along that line the fabric all together. This isn't super necessary, but I just like to make it nice and clean. I just ironed down the 2 flaps on the inside here. Once I was done, it was time to turn the fabric right side out, which is always the most satisfying part in my personal opinion. You can see here I made sure that the seam was in the middle. I'm just quickly testing out, folding it in half both ways, kind of like a double door, and then scrunchy in the middle. That's how your bow is gonna look, and it was looking so good at this point. I needed to fix up the raw edges of the shorter side. Pin those together. You can see the materials all folded inwards just to give a nice clean cut line, just a straight stitch. And then once I had both ends cleaned off, I folded the material, making sure the right side was inside so the seam was on the outside. Pinned that together to do a straight stitch and connect the 2 ends, so you basically just have a big continuous loop. And you can just see I have one line from when I closed off the edges, and then another line where I connected the 2 edges together. And then once again, I'm flipping it so it's right side out, so that seam is now on the inside and you shouldn't be able to see it. Once again, I'm just scrunching the bow to kind of get that nice bow look, and it was looking so good. Next, I needed a piece of fabric to make the little loop around the bow to hold it all together. I got the interfacing, cut out a little piece. I just quickly folded over this piece of fabric, make sure it wasn't gonna fray again, kind of what I did with the big bow piece. And then I decided to cut out 2 pieces of interfacing because I wanted this piece to be really firm. I don't know if I mentioned this. Once you've ironed it all, you want to let it sit for 20 minutes to really let everything adhere properly. And then I went over after 20 minutes with my second layer. Once again, I've folded the piece of fabric in half. I'm gonna do a straight stitch to connect it. Same thing, I was gonna iron down those little flaps just to make it a little bit less bulky. Quickly did that, and then had to fold it right side out once again. Always so satisfying. This one was a little bit harder because it was a bit skinnier, just making sure that that seam is on the middle. Now I have my bow. We're ready to connect this loop around. Trying to do a nice scrunch up of the bow to make it nice and even. To double secure the bow, I tried sewing all the ruffles together, but my needle was not going through the fabric. The thread kept breaking, the needle wasn't going through because it was so thick, it was too much. So I decided that I would take a spare piece of fabric and just tie it around to make sure the bow was super secure. Then I took that piece we just made and I was gonna loop it around. I tried hand sewing it first, making sure that I had the right sides facing outwards, but once again, the thread and the needle were just not connecting enough, so I was getting a little frustrated at this point. I decided I would try and use my sewing machine, so this time I had to make sure that the seam was facing outwards. Then I was able to sew the seam and flip it all around so that the right side was facing outwards at the end. Hi, we have our bow. She's done. She's huge, but I feel like I need to add more to my outfit. I don't really feel like I have any exciting or fun shoes. So my thought is I have these fun shaped shoes and we make little bows to put on the heels of the same fabric of the bow from the dress, so, you know, tie it on, have a big moment. Right? So we're gonna do this again twice, but in mini version. And I'm not gonna put that interfacing in because I don't think the fabric is gonna be heavy enough that we need that extra structure. I think it should be small enough that it doesn't need to be as poofy. And then maybe I'll make something for a purse too or something. I feel like that would be really cute. I just have my shoe right here and I'm just scrunching the fabric in a slight bow just to give myself an idea of how big I want this bow to be. And honestly, I want it pretty obnoxiously big. Something like that. Made 2 squares, roughly 20 by 18 centimeters. That should be plenty. No, I lied. I meant to double that. That should be 18 by 40 centimeters. Good thing I have lots of fabric left. Wow, that was not smart of me. I might just sew these back together really quickly because I don't think you'll be able to tell. Basically just repeating the same thing with the giant bow as we have our big long piece. I'm gonna fold it hot dog way, you know. We're gonna sew along this top line here first. I'm not gonna bother folding down the hems just because it's such a small piece. I'm feeling too lazy to. Probably should, but I don't feel like it. And then again, gotta fold it so the right side is out now. Okay, there we go. And then I just want to make sure the seam is on the back and kind of in the middle, so it's just easy to hide when you fold it over. But before I attach it into a big circle, just because we have this raw hem here, I'm gonna fold it in and just do a quick straight stitch along that line just so it doesn't fray, because that bit is a little bit more exposed and you can see it. And you don't have to do this step. Okay, this is the side sewn. It's a little bit cleaner. The other end of it now, and just real quick stitch, make it a little bit cleaner. Satin is very difficult to work with, and I do not want to work with it again because the machine keeps eating my fabric. Okay, this is what we got so far. Seam on the back, that's just a wrinkle we'll iron out. Both the ends are nicely cut off. This is the front with no seam. This is going to be the part that's showing. We're going to fold that together, right sides together, so the seam should be on the outside. We're just going to sew these two ends together so we have our nice little loop, and then we'll flip it around. The end, we have the line we just stitched. Flip her inside out. That will be the back. This will be the front. This is when we scrunch it, and then we just gotta make the little loop that goes around. That's so cute. I don't really know the measurements on this. I just kind of made a tiny little piece that's gonna go around the bow. Just gonna do the same thing, stitch it along the side, then I'm gonna have to flip it inside out. Because this is so teeny tiny, I'm just using the hand nozzle for the beginning because satin also gets really stuck in the machine sometimes because it's so slippery. It can kind of get sucked in. I'm just doing hand for the more delicate bits, and now I think I'm good to go. Flipping this right side out is kind of difficult, so I use a chopstick to get the right side out. I think I have to hand sew this last bit because it's really teeny tiny. Okay, I'm gonna try something on this just because it's small and I don't care as much about it, but right now I have an elastic band wrapped around to tie it together for now. Put the little knot on with the seam side outwards. Gonna sew along this line, and then we'll flip it around, and then we'll take the elastic band off. And another thing I did is I just folded the ends in, and I'm just gonna, when I sew it together, also sew that bit in. I didn't want any of the bits fraying. Here's the dress in question. She's cute. And here is the bow. She's still, you know what? This is just like so much. She's still floopy. Now we have to figure out how to attach her. Is it cute? I feel like it looks cute. I can only see it in my tiny viewfinder, but I think what we need to do is attach her like there. I was gonna sew it on, but I think I'm gonna use safety pins because I want to be able to put this with other things. And also I was having a really hard time hand sewing through because of the structure or whatever stuff inside the bow. So I think if I just use some giant safety pins, we're just gonna safety pin her, maybe 4 safety pins, then I can wear her with other stuff and she'll be nice and secure. I think that's good enough. So let's try that. But now I gotta take this off to safety pin it. Also, I just want to show, this is the front of the bow, but then the back. The only seam you can see is this one right here of the little, I don't even know what to call that, loopy loop. Lay the dress flat on the ground, and I'm gonna try and safety pin her. But the thing is that it has a zipper in the back, so it needs to be able to be pinned on the side so it can still open. And I think what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna pin it like right there and there to hold up the structure of the bow and still be able to open the back. Now I'm just a little worried that I'm not gonna be able to get the safety pins through this fabric because it's just so thick. We made it through. Now we gotta make it back through and hope that that's strong enough to hold this. Otherwise, we gotta come up with like a backup plan with like a belt or something like that. Okay, looping. This is good. Pinned. Okay. It's holding. This is good news. Okay, on that side you can't see the pin, but this side you can, so I definitely gotta redo that. I don't know what I did on the other side, but it's working way better. Okay, I'm getting really excited now because it's actually turning out so good. So I have a pin like in here, like right inside, right in there, and then one up there, and one up there to keep it its shape. Now I gotta try it on, make sure I have it in the right place because I really don't want to redo that now. Okay, first of all, it's not even, this side needs to be higher, but I also feel like the bow needs to sit higher, like it needs to hit the back of my waist. Or is it cute like on the bum? Ooh, I don't know. Okay, this is better. Ooh. Okay, so once again I have pins in here and then pins down below there. So I have 4 jumbo pins. This dress is like a little bit loosey-goosey, but whatever. Like ideally she's more like this. But we'll let that slide. But now, shoes. I really wanted the bow to be right on the back. I looped this guy through that bit there, but it's not center on the back. So instead, what I'm thinking, I feel like this only really kind of works with a shoe with a loopy loop unless you want to get really creative. I think what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna loop some string through here and then loop it around the bottom here to get it right in the middle. That is so cute. Okay, we're gonna do that. I just have some random string. Yeah, that's it. Okay, maybe let's loop this around a couple times. Okay, shut the front door. That is so cute. Look at that. We gotta put them on now. Okay. We have the full fit now. She's ready. We need to find a place to go. We're gonna ignore my unshaven legs, but oh my god. I cannot believe I actually made this. I'm in love. The color with the red is just, it's perfect. And considering how much I messed up, I would like to say it looks quite professional. I thought I could do it, but I didn't realize it was gonna turn out this good. So this is gonna be my Valentine's Day date outfit. If you wanna see how I'm gonna style it, add a few more accessories, I will put that all on my TikTok and Instagram, so you should go follow me. If you are still watching and you found this video helpful, please give it a thumbs up because that'll really help cheer me on, because this was a mental battle for me. I did not think we were gonna make it here. I was ready to give up.